Cody Rhodes leaving AEW has sent shockwaves around the wrestling community, and I am still in shock right now. But now that his AEW run is all set and done, we need to look back at Cody Rhodes' AEW career, the ups, the downs, because it was a hell of a run. This is a timeline of the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes in AEW. Cody Rhodes started AEW with the Young Bucks and Tony Khan as the CEO. Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, they were the executive vice presidents, and they had their debut show AEW Double or Nothing, and it was a grand success. Cody Rhodes faced Dustin Rhodes in an emotional match, and it was the best match of 2019. The final emotional hug post-match, it had me in tears. But when that was done and AEW Dynamite was announced, the first ever match on AEW Dynamite was between Cody Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. A banger of a match. We know how Sammy Guevara is talented, and as is gonna be the trend in this video, Cody Rhodes won the first ever match of Dynamite history. With Cody Rhodes kickstarting his AEW singles career, he challenged Chris Jericho for the AEW World title at Full Gear. He put a stipulation saying that if he doesn't win the AEW World title, he would never challenge for the AEW Championship ever again. The build up to the Full Gear main event was freaking amazing, and to everyone's surprise, Cody Rhodes lost. He didn't tap out, he was not pinned. MJF, who was running along with Cody at the time, threw in the towel. And post-match, MJF turned full on heel, kicked Cody in the nuts, and it led to an amazing mouth-watering feud between Cody Rhodes and MJF. The feud was all about putting MJF on the map, and Cody Rhodes did a damn good job putting over MJF here. It was all about MJF. It was all about how Cody will get to MJF. Cody had to defeat Wardlow. He had to get 10 lashes from MJF, which was painful to watch. And before their match, Cody Rhodes couldn't lay a hand on MJF, and MJF won the match against Cody. It was a good match. It was equally great to see Cody Rhodes putting over MJF. Then MJF went his different ways and Cody went their different ways. There was no rematch and none of that shit. And Cody goes on a win streak. At AEW Double or Nothing, Cody Rhodes becomes the first ever TNT champion by defeating Lance Archer. And the first title belt design was so horrendous, and it was presented by the one and only Mike Tyson. And in his first run as TNT champion, Cody Rhodes defeated multiple stars and faces some stars who were hot indie darlings, and they were not signed to AEW at that point. And then he enters a feud against Mr. Brody Lee, and I believe this is one of the low points of Cody Rhodes. You will know why. On a Saturday Night Dynamite special, Mr. Brody Lee absolutely destroyed Cody Rhodes and won the TNT championship. It was a brutal squash, and then Cody Rhodes went on a break. Now, why Cody Rhodes dropped the TNT title? Now, here's the answer for it. Cody Rhodes dropped the TNT title to Mr. Brody Lee because he was going to film the new show on TNT named Go Big Show, where he was one of the judges, and he was gonna be there for 5 to 6 weeks. Hence, he dropped the TNT title to Mr. Brody Lee. Brody Lee went on a good streak with the TNT championship, and then Cody Rhodes came back, challenged Mr. Brody Lee to a dog collar match. First of all, people obviously criticized Cody for inserting himself into a title match straight away because he was the executive vice president. In a brutal dog collar match, Cody Rhodes won the TNT title back from Mr. Brody Lee in what was a short yet fun reign for Mr. Brody Lee. Now, we all later know why Brody Lee had to drop the title to Cody Rhodes in that match, because Brody Lee had to go on a leave of absence to recover, and sadly he didn't. Now, after Cody Rhodes won the title back, he was challenged by Darby Allin for the TNT title at Full Gear. Now, Cody Rhodes was overconfident throughout here and he was arrogant. He was doing push-ups in the middle of the match and doing all sorts of showboating stuff because he had defeated Darby Allin previously and he had no doubt that he would do that again. But to Cody Rhodes' surprise and to my surprise, Darby Allin rolled up Cody Rhodes for a surprise pinfall win and hence he won the TNT title from Cody Rhodes. Darby Allin made his first big splash in AEW by taking on Cody, so it was perfectly appropriate for Darby to win his first title by defeating Cody Rhodes, but he should have defeated with his coffin drop and not with a surprise roll-up. So that's where I felt that Cody Rhodes was booked still a little bit strong. Now, was it influenced by Cody Rhodes? I don't know because there are no writers in AEW apparently. He had a long, and I mean a long and a boring feud against QT Marshall. Let's just say that. In storyline, the Nightmare Factory was broken up into the Nightmare Factory led by Cody Rhodes and the Factory led by QT Marshall. And every time the Nightmare Factory was in a match which involved Cody Rhodes, they won. Every single time they won. And to put this feud to a close, Cody Rhodes defeated QT Marshall in a strap match. So it was a nothing feud. It was just basically showing off some of the younger talent in the Nightmare Factory and to give them some TV exposure. That's how I see here. Before the QT Marshall feud, Cody Rhodes teamed up with Red Velvet to face Shaq and Jade Cargill, and surprise surprise, Cody Rhodes lost. Now after defeating QT Marshall, Cody Rhodes on the next episode of Dynamite was confronted by a debuting Malachi Black. Malachi Black hit a black mass on Cody and it signaled Cody Rhodes' next feud. Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes won. It was again a sort of a brutal squash, we can say. Malachi Black kicked Cody's ass in his debut match and nearly retired Cody, okay? Cody was about to take his shoes off, but Malachi Black attacked him from behind, signaling that hey, I'm not done with you. Cody then faced Malachi Black again at AEW Grand Slam, and this time it was a little bit close, not a squash match, but it was a close contest. But Malachi Black spit his black mist onto Cody and Black won. And this time it was not the black mass or the spit, it was a roll-up finish. And it was here I felt that Cody should have turned on the fans by cutting a scathing promo, just dissing them in every way possible. Because when Cody Rhodes attempted that fake retirement thing, the fans didn't buy into it. Nobody was cheering or booing him. They were just dead silent. And when Malachi Black rolled up Cody at AEW Grand Slam, AEW expected Malachi Black to be booed. But the opposite happened. Cody Rhodes was getting booed, and heavily. And it would have been so good if Cody Rhodes had turned heel at that moment. But that didn't happen, and instead he faced Malachi Black again for a third time just to get his win back. And he finally got his win back. So for the third time when they faced, I legit thought that if Malachi Black is to be a threat in AEW, then Cody should put over Malachi Black for the third time and end this feud. But the opposite happened, and honestly he didn't need to face Malachi Black at that point. But that happened and I went on a rant. So if you want to hear that rant, link is in the description. You can go and check that out. The next big thing for Cody was the TNT title yet again, because he cannot challenge for the AEW World Championship. And this time Cody Rhodes defeated Sammy Guevara, one of the 4 pillars of AEW, and ended Sammy's title run. Now in retrospect, Cody winning the TNT title for the third time, record third time, was just done to please him and keep him happy, because he was unhappy with the direction AEW was going and he was unhappy with the direction they are going for himself as well. So the TNT title win was just to keep him happy and to sign a new contract and just stay here and don't go anywhere. Because Cody at this point, be it a face, be it as a heel, he was a draw. And when it was apparent for Tony Khan that Cody is not going to sign a new deal with AEW, Cody Rhodes had to drop the title, and he dropped the title quicker than he captured to Sammy Guevara. And it was an amazing ladder match, okay? The ladder match was freaking brilliant. So Cody Rhodes' AEW career had its ups and downs. He had his up with the feud against MJF, and after he won the AEW TNT title, it was all downhill from there. There is no specific big moment if you talk about Cody Rhodes. Yes, he became TNT champion for record 3 times, but you would have a hard time remembering the best moment of Cody Rhodes in AEW. The one moment I remember is that voice crack promo he did in that feud against Chris Jericho. Just go and watch that promo. It is freaking amazing. There have been a lot of matches, lot of one-off matches, just 3 major feuds. One against Chris Jericho, one against MJF, those were 2 back-to-back, and one against Mr. Brody Lee, and that's it. Those 3 feuds were top-notch, but the rest of the stuff in between, where he won the TNT title and then he was rolled up by Darby Allin to drop the title, and then the Sammy Guevara situation here, Sammy Guevara shouldn't have lost in the first place. Those are the kind of stuff I hated, and Cody Rhodes was just there making the matches he is involved in all about himself after he became the TNT champion. As far as the matches are concerned, he was amazing in the ring, but did those amazing matches serve any purpose? I don't think so. Cody Rhodes is gone from AEW for now. There has been some rift between Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes, but there is one star that you should watch out for in 2022 for AEW, and that's Hook. And in this video, I've explained how he rose to the top and how he is one of the most over stars in professional wrestling right now. Click this video right now to witness the crazy rise of Hook in AEW, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one.